Welcome to another episode of the Moore Center Community Spotlight. I'm your host, Teresa Dainese, and I'm thrilled to welcome here today a veteran employee of the Moore Center, Mr. Chet Bobola Jr. Welcome, Chet.
Hi, Teresa.
How are you today?
Pretty good. Looking forward to the interview.
Thanks for joining us. So I understand you just had a milestone anniversary with the Moore Center. How many years have you been here?
I just finished my 18th year, started my 19th on Monday.
My goodness, 18 years. Wow. So tell me a little bit about what you do. You're the Director of Residential and Nursing Services at the Moore Center. What exactly is part of that position?
So I oversee, right now we presently have about 120 individuals who are in residential services through the Moore Center. Individuals who are developmentally disabled and have acquired brain disorders. Out of those, almost, say 115 of them are living within what we call enhanced family care, with families who are assisting and providing opportunities for a good life for them. Also, we have 6 individuals who live in a staffed residence with staff that rotate throughout the house throughout the day.
So as director, you oversee a lot of those positions that take care of those folks.
Yeah, we have a residential department and a nursing department that works with those folks. So I'm the director. I provide support for my staff to get them what they need so they can do a better job.
So what is a typical day like for you when you're working at the Moore Center?
It's not too typical. I mean, some days can be kind of boring because I'm doing emails and going to meetings and committee meetings. And then others days, it can be a crisis. And it can be all-day meetings and where we're meeting to decide what to do for an individual who's now in a crisis situation, maybe can't return home or is in the hospital somewhere or needs some extra services that aren't available on that day. So we may sit with my staff and brainstorm ideas of what we can do for this individual to help them out during that moment.
So you work very closely, obviously, with your team then on any given day.
Yes, I have 3 managers and I have 4.5 nurses plus a manager of the nursing department. There are residential coordinators and assistant managers that work in my department.
That's wonderful. So there's a lot of programs that you sort of oversee. One of the ones I wanted to sort of learn more about today was the Rising Stars program, which is, talk a little bit about Rising Stars and sort of how it's evolved and sort of your role with that.
Sure. The Rising Stars is a social and advocacy club associated with the Moore Center. It's not one of our programs where we're billing the state for services, but it's an actual club that started about 11 years ago before I was involved. It came to me about 7 years ago. Presently, there are about 55 members in the club. It's all volunteer, whoever wants to join. And the club's main mission is to spend time making friends, getting to know other people, working on teamwork. We also do a portion of advocacy in which the individuals who are in the club run for an executive council, and we have elections to vote them in, and then they meet monthly to decide on what activities the group is going to do. So it's a very social group, so we do a lot of fun activities like going out apple picking. We have parties, like tonight is our Valentine's party. We have different events throughout the year. The group also does community service. So we have a collaboration with the VA in which once a year we collect items that the Veterans Administration is looking for the Veterans Association. And then we also do fundraising for the group because, again, it's not a program that is funded by the state. So we have to raise money to do some of those activities like going apple picking or going out for Chunky's movie theaters, which we're going to in a couple weeks.
Wonderful.
And then the group also, because of doing its fundraising, we have a big event at the end of every season. Our season runs from mid-September through mid-June. And in the first week of June, we have a giant fundraiser called Dancing with the Rising Stars. And so all our individuals either play music or in a comedy troupe or get up and dance and perform for the night to earn money so that we can take a giant trip, all expenses paid, to whatever activity the group wants to do.
That's wonderful.
And this year it's going to be York's Wild Kingdom all day.
That's fantastic.
And we have a lot of folks who assist with that. We have Sean McDonald from WMUR is one of our co-MCs. And we have the former mayor, now executive council member, Ted Gatzis. We have the Miss New Hampshire USA, Miss New Hampshire Teen USA, who come every year and help us out as well.
So it's very rooted into the community.
Yes.
Wonderful.
We have collaboration as well with 2 local colleges. I also oversee the volunteer student learner program at the Moore Center, in which we have students from both St. Anselm College and SNHU come in September, and in January we put them through an orientation, and then they work various parts of the Moore Center, different programs. Many of them come to Rising Stars because they've heard how much fun it is to work there.
And I have had the pleasure of attending one of those Rising Stars, the performances, and it was wonderful.
Thank you.
So, Chet, you've been very open about the fact that you live with a disability as well, with being visually impaired. Can you talk a little bit about how that sort of impacts your understanding or how you relate to the Moore Center's men and women that we support?
Sure. I was diagnosed when I was 18 that I was going to go blind at some point in my life. And it's been a slow process, but now that I'm 58, the process is definitely speeding up. So I am not completely blind, but I am very limited in my vision. And what I found is I'm seen as just like everybody else. So when I go to Rising Stars, I'm a person with a disability like they all are. So I seem to just connect with everyone, and they look at me as if I'm not necessarily the director of residential services, or I'm not the Moore Center. I'm just one of them. And that always has provided me an opportunity to connect with individuals that we serve in a different level than being a employee of the Moore Center.
That's wonderful. It must be very impactful for you.
It is. The folks that like Rising Stars, they have to learn how to work with me because they have to learn what I can and cannot see. And so sometimes it can be quite comical when you have people in wheelchairs who you would think have to get out of, and I'd have to get out of their way, but instead they have to get out of my way because I'm walking around with my cane. I just want to make sure I'm not hitting anybody. But
yes. And finally, as we wrap up, I just wondered what makes the Moore Center so special for you? Someone who's been a long-standing, faithful employee for 18 years and many more to come, hopefully. What is it about the Moore Center that really resonates with you?
I think our mission of creating opportunities for a good life that's something I strive for all of our individuals who are in services there. But the community, the Moore Center employees that I work with are so dedicated. They work so hard, so well together. And in all the crisis that we do and the chaos at times, everyone still comes together and helps each other out as best they can. And I think that's just wonderful, especially when it's on behalf of our individuals who receive services. And you can see the result of your work when everyone comes together as a team and provides an opportunity.
That's great. Well, Chet Bobola Jr., Director of Residential and Nursing Services with the Moore Center, thank you so much for being with us today.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I'm Teresa Dainese. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time. The Moore Center is a nonprofit statewide organization with a legacy of serving others for over 60 years. We provide compassionate, high-quality, cost-effective services to people of all ages, from early intervention services for children, to programs and services for adults with developmental disabilities, to home care services for seniors wishing to remain independent in their own homes. We also provide training for the human services workforce. To learn more about this award-winning nonprofit organization and its rich history of creating opportunities for a good life, please visit us at moorecenter.org.